Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
All right, good morning, our esteemed viewers and listeners all around the world. Thank you so much for joining us again on another edition of Morning Spring, reaching you live from Western Spring Television. My name is Emmanuel Ujadigel. It's another lovely day to have you join us on this exciting morning drive as we bring you information, we bring you what is happening around you, and we bring you detailed newspaper analysis, of course, our interview segment, and the spring trend. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Western Spring Television on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter at WSTV_NG. I'm not alone in the studio this morning. We have the man who's always queuing for petrol, looking for petrol everywhere. Femi Oladipo.
Well, so just so that you know, I've never queued for petrol. I would never queue for petrol. Some of us really, I don't know, you may not understand, but we do not queue for petrol.
Okay, well, yeah. I use Legadis for now.
I know. So when you get to our own side of this divide, you come and ask us, I will get petrol without queuing.
All right.
Good to have you join us on Morning Spring this morning. Western Spring Television, reaching you live on Star Times DT to channel 190. It's a lovely, lovely Thursday morning, and we're so glad to have you join us. Unfortunately, like Emmanuel's trying to, take a jab at me, people are seeking for petrol. I mean, some are still unfortunate. I mean, I've not had to keep for petrol because my tank was full as at last week, but then I ate to look at the meter nowadays because it's reducing by the day, and I'm dreading the prospect of having to go queue at the filling station because the queues have refused to go away. This morning again, I saw them, and this is some people even exchanging words. Well, in some instances, some people make friends, some people make enemies. Some people, return home with blows, with eyes swollen. Some people return home with their voices, of course, by the time they get back home. Some people return home
all day.
Stressed. Yes, it's such a disturbing one. And one thing I dislike somewhat about the Nigerian system is these things happen, and it appears that nobody is doing anything,
yes.
And then nobody is held responsible. There's no one, or it appears that there's no one doing anything to address the situation. I expect that something should have been done because this has dragged on for more than a week now.
Yes,
and it's spreading. People are buying fuel at 300 naira per liter, and in some places 400 naira per liter, and that is in Western Nigeria. So you can imagine what is happening in Eastern Nigeria, in Northern Nigeria, where on a regular day, these people buy even more than we buy here. And so it's also unfortunate, and we seem not to be able to do anything about it, and citizens are just helpless. Well, God helping us, we'll be fine. Femi Oladipo is my name. I'm glad to have you join us on Morning Spring.
Oh, well, we'll be bringing you the newspaper reviews shortly. We have For You newspapers, Punch, this Daily Trust, Guardian, and of course the Nation newspaper right after this break. All right, welcome back. It's time to go to the papers and see what they're saying this morning. Let's start with the Nation newspaper this morning. The Nation newspaper. The banner headline has been pushed downwards. The Nation newspaper. Cash withdrawal limit policy. Senators, experts knock CBN. Senate faults Apex Bank. Fixes debate for Tuesday. Job losses loom. SMEs threatened. Good policy, wrong timing. Experts. There's a number of writers under that story there. We did talk about it a little bit yesterday. The CBN's with cash withdrawal limit policy. A lot of persons seem to be on the nay side of the policy, not the I side.
Well, so I mean, some of the other papers I will be reviewing also, we're using that's the banner headlines, especially the reaction of the street. As we say here, I mean, the people will be using it on the street, businesses. And the parliament also, I understand, Senate has invited CBN chiefs to come and defend these new policies. But it seems to be uproar across the land. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Well, I tried to focus on the positives, but it appears that many other people are focusing on the negatives. People are looking at the possible impact of these on the economy and how these will affect them ultimately. But maybe that's the way to go. Maybe we just need to find a better way of implementing it or waiting for the appropriate time to implement. But when will that appropriate time be?
When will it ever be appropriate?
When will it ever be appropriate?
All right, right beneath the banner headline this morning, Second Niger Bridge opens to traffic December 15. EFCC auctions 435 forfeited cars. I would have loved to get one or two of those.
Yeah, I mean, so for those of you who are still, using the age-long legacy dispense,
wow,
it would be good. Maybe you visit one of these auction sites. And something I'd like to know. So when a car is seized from someone, would you be available to go and be part of the auction again? Perhaps you could salvage your car and buy it back.
I think that I don't think they would sell to those who forfeited.
Why should they not sell?
If they're not, a lot of persons actually buy by proxy. I know some of those who forfeited those cars.
So I mean, if its auction is going to be by bidding,
yes.
And so if the car is valued at 5 million naira and then the bidding started from 500,000 naira, and someone said, you will even be well because it's your car you want to buy back. I will pay 5.5 million naira. Just give me my car back.
I would have bought like
I think there
six.
was one. Yeah, I witnessed one in Lagos, or I read about one in Lagos, and I saw the videos of, I think the car was impounded by LASMA, and the Lagos government wanted to auction the vehicle, and was it a man or a woman was crying because he or she was there. I can't remember the sex of the person, the gender again. He or she was there, and she really begged that the car be given back to her, but those who are there, bidded more than she could afford, and she was crying that this car has been taken away. That's a source of livelihood. That's a life that was taken away, but she couldn't do anything. So I think they will be they can come back to there, if they are not in prison anyway, because this is about financial crimes. But if they have the purchasing power, will determine if they're able to go back with their cars or not.
Well, that's another. I'll wait for the next time EFCC.
And you will get some very good, because some of the cars EFCC, seizes are quite flashy, because when they came to Shubo,
yes,
you saw the kind of car. So Emmanuel, I'll advise that you take a note.
But if the owner of the car catches me with the car,
you will rebrand it.
All right, still on the Nation newspaper, above the nameplate, 2023 court validates Tinubu's candidacy. That's on page 4 of that newspaper. Petrol scarcity to end soon, says agency. Page 5 still. Ipman gives 7-day ultimatum. I hope they don't go on strike, because if they do, it's a larger crisis. And moving on, 1.9 trillion Southwest. Oh, yeah, Senate threatens MDAs with zero allocation. Page 7. That's the issue about the derivation fund that the federal government said they've released 1.9 trillion naira to governors. Now Senate is threatening MDAs with zero allocation. Someone has to allocate for it. That's on page 7.
So was the money given to the MDAs or given to the states? The states in Delta? It seems to be a mix-up somewhere.
Yes, it seems
so if the Senate is going to investigate,
it should be the states.
I'm not even sure they have the powers to investigate the states. The parliaments of the states will be in the best position to accept maybe part of the money is given to the Ministry of the Niger Delta, or some of the other intervention ministries, for instance. But I do not know. Maybe we need to get more details about that story. But there's something that's actually disturbing about the Nigerian system of MDAs and agencies of government disrespecting the Senate and the House of Representatives when they are summoned to come and give accounts, because they represent the people. They're the ones representing us. And actually where sovereignty lies, but it's sort of common practice now for the Senate to practically beg, and because that's because they threaten and nothing gets done. Because,
and
if they have summoned someone who refuses to come and the person has been arrested,
it will serve as a deterrent.
Perhaps outside of deterrent, but we've seen that happen again and again of recent.
Oh, well. Now, below the nameplate, federal government to governors account for ecological funds. And then there is a fact sheet of June 2015 to May. The federal government this time has come out with receipts to say, okay, we have, like, as they say in local palace, this is the receipts. These are the receipts. Now account for it. This is how much we've paid. And you can see billions of naira released from June 2015 to May 2022. And now it's time for the governors to respond. let us see what you've done with this money.
So where are those monies? What have they been spent on? Because in fairness, criticize the Buhari administration as you wish, as you may. But then even the opposition governors like Wike, who perhaps also, we should say, has an ulterior motive.
Yes.
This has released some funds. There's been budget support facilities for the states. There's been COVID-19 intervention for the states. There's been millions of trillions, rather, of monies released to the state government. And we've not seen an improvement in the lifestyle or the life of the Nigerian people. Instead, things have degenerated. Things have nosedived. I mean, why is that? That's so terrible. And so we should be putting some people on the spot and asking them questions. I think we need to do more of this. Citizens, you know, civil society, journalists, and it's also good that the parliament is also doing this. Let's investigate how these monies were spent. We need to get value for monies disbursed.
Yes, we need to get value for money. That's a whole lot of money. I think the list that was disbursed, and that list from that fact sheet that I can see is 700 million naira. That was in November 2018, and the highest was about 15.99 billion naira. So you want to tell me that these monies have been coming in and there's nothing to show for it? God help us. God help us. A protest in Lagos as police officer kills man. Protest in Lagos as police officer kills man. And that's again another issue of extrajudicial killing and police brutality.
Yesterday, I saw the
video
because of that on Twitter. Yeah, it's just sort of a sad situation. You know, we keep having issues like this again and again, and the life lost cannot be replaced. The police released a statement yesterday that they are going to commiserate with the family of the deceased. I don't know if that would do anything.
It's never enough.
You know, it's never enough. We should avoid getting into situations like this. And why do you respond to pulling the trigger for every, perhaps, as they claim, sometimes they disrespect them or what have you? I don't have the details of what happened really, but it's sad that that guy lost his life again.
Yeah. Just another young man cut down in his prime. Lagos cuts tuition by 65% in universities. Lagos cuts tuition by 65% in universities. That's quite encouraging.
I hope it's not because of the elections coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. The other day was distribution of condoms, in Lagos.
Also, I mean, perhaps I know that right, inside of you, you will support that kind of a move.
Well,
I know that.
No, in reality, HIV is real.
It is. That's what I'm saying. We're driving at the same point. Really.
We need to control the spread by encouraging people to practice safe sex if they cannot practice abstinence. So we'll move on to the next paper.
Oh, okay. We should move on.
Yes, we should.
All right. So we'll move on to the next paper. Yeah, Emmanuel is insisting that we move on to the next paper, and that'll be the Guardian newspaper, and it's about the CBN policy. The banner headline here says CBN's cash withdrawal limit, agents in uproar as Senate debates new policy Tuesday. Agents in uproar as Senate debates new policy Tuesday with a number of riders. They want us out of business. Mobile money, agents lament. Policy good, but implementation will be difficult. BCAN, you like to know who BCAN is? Check the Guardian newspaper. The other writer says Hiriwa, cash withdrawal limits can't help Naira depreciation, will lead to job loss. That's the banner headline of the Guardian newspaper. Just above that, below the nameplates and the top right-hand corner of the paper, Facebook prepares for Nigeria's elections, tightens news on misinformation. US explains exclusion of 5 African leaders from summit. Global partners may end broad COVID-19 vaccination efforts in Nigeria. Orders. And Kaduna records over 300 cases of GBV under El Rufai, says Commissioner. GBV should be gender-based violence, if I'm not mistaken. And just below that, it's the panorama page of the paper, page 2. Nigeria Group win international award for tackling corruption at port. Oh, which of our ports is that? The Nigerian ports? I will still hear stories of corruption, but I mean, if we're making progress like this, then really, it's really heartwarming. And the bottom strip of the paper UK warns against intimidation of voters, rules out preferred presidential candidates. That's the UK ruling out preferred presidential candidate. That's the Guardian newspaper.
Well, I get very surprised when I hear foreign governments being so invested and interested in Nigerian elections. You hear the US making statements, the UK making statements. I have never seen where the Nigerian presidency makes a statement and says, we are calling on the United States populace and government to ensure that there is a free and fair...
And to choose right.
It's...
And to eschew. Like, then so they tell citizens to eschew violence. I think we'll get there. We'll get there. You know, oftentimes, even Nigerians do call on them. Most Nigerian citizens really call and say, US, you look at us, look at what they are doing at us. You know, look at what they're doing.
Global, there's a term for it. The international community is watching.
International community.
Very funny.
I don't know what they are watching. Maybe it's Telemundo or nothing, but I'm not sure they are watching will do anything. We need to get things right ourselves really here and learn to do things the right way. Like you said, I mean, we don't get to, until recently, when the Minister of Information, I know that was a tongue-in-the-cheek statement that he released, asking Nigerians to be careful when they go to the UK because to be wary of robbers. That was because the UK and US government also released security advisories here in Nigeria. But perhaps it's when our own economy gets better, we have a better international standing, we have a better and robust democratic framework here and institutions that we can also regain our pride of place in the international community. You remember the kind of influence
Nigeria
that President Obasanjo had at the international when he was president. You know, I think we read something here one of these days when the US government was saying they never did anything about Africa without consulting Nigeria Obasanjo, back then. That was then. Obasanjo was carried himself with grace, charisma, and a lot of things are happening back home. I mean, that was when we witnessed a resurgence of the Nigerian middle class. That was when we had, you know, a number of reforms and what have you. The only one of the bad things was some of the, you know, extrajudicial acts of the government, a piece of rule of law in some instances, and then more worryingly, the third-time controversy.
Yes,
perhaps would have been the glory days of this Fourth Republic. But we long for that time again when Nigeria will be very respected on the international scene. And countries like the US and UK need not poke us what's happening here if we do things by the rules ourselves here.
Yes. So it's down to us to act in order to and hope that we show the right signal to the international community. From The Guardian, we'll move on to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The banner headline is also in line with what we've been reading. Cash withdrawal limit, businesses will collapse. Now, as the senators, we can't go cashless in a hurry. Lawan, the Senate President, it will kill our business, POS operators, CNPP backs policy. That's on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Below that is a picture of some persons there, and below that picture you have a Nigeria must end insecurity for smooth electoral process, British government. That's what we've just talked about. CBN names acting MD for NRSAL, page 4. Night trips begin in Borno next year. That's coming from Governor Babagana Zulum. Interesting to see if Borno can manage.
That's a bold prediction.
To have a night trips.
Bold prediction. We do hope it comes true. That would be very good to have.
Because even day trips are very much dangerous.
Yes, and you know, it's not even in Borno State. Other parts of, I've had people who ordinarily fancy night trips, even running away from day trips. Even in southwestern part of the country today, many people. Even the police now in their advisories are advising against night trips anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. So if the Borno governor Zulum is assuring that our trips will begin in Borno next year, then perhaps a lot has changed. And for me, it's still a very, very bold prediction.
Coming from a man who himself was attacked twice in 2020 by Boko Haram.
Some time back, but maybe there's been a lot of changes, really.
All right, ASU strike will become history under my watch. As Peter will be the presidential candidate of the Labour Party on page 12. Yes, the campaign promise.
That's campaign.
Yes.
Campaigning. Yes. Because in reality, it may not be like that when it happens. But we do hope, I mean, if he's making this kind of a claim, of this kind of a promise, then we can hold him to it when it comes in. We need people to make this kind of claims, but then also give us specifics of how you intend to achieve it. Yeah, would you de-unionize? Would you ensure proper funding of universities? Are you going? What are you going to do about the autonomy? And then some of these other issues. Because
and the payment system, there's still an disagreement.
Are you going to
that.
go with IPPIS? Or are you going to go with UTAS? Issues like that. Let's know.
Yeah, so below the nameplates this morning, above the banner headline, 5 trillion naira contingency fund. Senate threatens to slash 100 MDA's allocation. I mean, it is somehow that we keep hearing that monies get into accounts. This is 5 trillion again. But now they want to slash 100 MDA's allocations.
How many funds do we actually have?
I don't even understand. Today is one contingency fund. Tomorrow is ecological. It's ecological.
Yeah, it's COVID-19 fund. There is
trillions of naira.
Yeah.
Now, no compulsion in religion, NUC tells private varsities. No compulsion in religion, NUC tells private varsities. And still on the Daily Trust newspaper, something that's been trending since yesterday, ICPC grills D'banj, 10 others over NPower funds. A lot of persons have been asking, what is D'banj's business with NPower funds? Apparently, it turned out that D'banj is an ambassador of the NSIP, and he allegedly colluded with some other corrupt government officials to divert funds to the tune of 100 million naira.
Well, and so I mean, I saw that picture yesterday of himself and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs when he became that ambassador, because there was some people had to dig up that picture to provide some context to what was happening. But his own lawyers also wrote yesterday and asking that the ICPC stop the media trial. And actually they actually said against what was reported in the media. They actually honored ICPC invitations, and that all what was said was not true, and that they should be prepared for the court instead of mudslinging and all that. But it's shocking that this is happening. Some people have said a lot of celebrities perhaps are involved in some of these things, but we can't judge now until the court decides. So there are two sides to this story. D'banj is saying something else through his lawyers, and ICPC also saying the other thing. But it boils down, and the core of this is that public funds should be spent judiciously to the public. And if you're involved in any of these shady things, this should be a pointer and should be a warning to you to do the right thing. Always. And then we still need to know who the government officials. The government is usually protective of its own. It's just D'banj's name that is out there. Yeah. A lot of persons have been asking who are the government officials involved.
That are involved. Yes. We need to know too, and their offices, so that people can, take the right decisions. And before we leave the Daily Trust newspaper, the reminder is back. Still in captivity, 11 schoolgirls of FGC Benin Yari, 541 days now. One student of Bethel Baptist High School, Kujama, 513 days now. That's all on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Okay, so let's do the Punch newspaper with the banner headline also been about the cash withdrawal limits of the CBN. Senate grills CBN chiefs tomorrow. POS operators get waiver. That's the riders there. POS operators get waiver to pay processing fee. Central Bank deputy governors to face NAS panel. Senate debates policy next week. CBN says no going back on new cashless policy allays fears of rural dwellers. Others. CBN says no going back on new cashless policy allays fears of rural dwellers. Others. And the central bank governors, deputy governors to face NAS panel. Senate debates policy next week. And so that will be their own. The deputy governors who to appear before Senate for their confirmation. This will be part of the they will baptism of fire. Yes, these now. But you can get to read more about this story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. It's saying that POS operators will get waiver, the processing fee. I don't know what that means, but you can get to know more, especially when the Senate is interfacing with the CBN officials. We know more at our time. Oil marketers, that's just beside the nameplate. Oil marketers fault NNPCL 34 days sufficiency claim. Oh my goodness. I said it was just only a matter of time before people will start to, interrogate that claim. 34 days sufficiency, we've not even seen
We've been
one
taken
day
for a ride.
sufficiency.
So how many days sufficiency do we have, Emmanuel?
I think we've run out of our sufficiency days. That's
run
why
out
we're
of
seeing queues everywhere. If the marketers themselves now are faulting that claim, because they are the ones who directly deal with the NNPC, they are the ones who bring the oil and whatever it is to the consumers, and now they are faulting the claim, it means that they've seen something that shows that we cannot even have up to 34 days. It's not possible.
Wow. So are you saying there's no end in sight to these queues?
There may be no end in sight. Considering you remember one of the stories we took said Ipman is giving a 7-day ultimatum. They cannot just give ultimatums without seeing the future, so to say. They must have seen something. They must have seen figures and
That
facts.
is worrying.
That is worrying for them to have given that ultimatum. And now the marketers again are faulting that claim by the NNPCL that they have 34 days sufficiency. If we had 34 days sufficiency, I mean, we would not be in this crisis. We would not be here, right from Lagos to every other part of the country.
I'm worried. Not only worried for those who have spent hours queued. I told you about the person who told me on Monday that he spent cumulatively in the last 24 hours, in the last 2 or 3 days. I'm also worried for myself. My fuel level is medial now.
We'll be willing to welcome you to the Legacies.
I will need to employ and get people like Emmanuel to come and use their street credibility,
yes,
and street smartness to get to filling stations.
Of course, we're at your service.
Get me fuel more. But this is not a laughing matter. It's actually very, very worrying, very, very disturbing. Okay, so just above the nameplate, contesting presidency again will diminish me. That's according to former President Jonathan. But he never talked all that time when this controversy raged.
It was linked with it.
He wasn't saying anything. I mean, a lot of his supporters were disappointed that because the papers linked him with the APC presidential primaries that time. Very strongly. And it was also paying visits that were adding fuel to that fire at that time. And he never said anything. I mean, it was non-committal. Most of his responses and interventions during that period were vague and gave room for speculation.
Yeah, people took his silence for consent.
Yes.
And coming out to speak now really doesn't change. Now people know that he's not contesting, so it's really, really not.
You're not on the ballot. But at that time, many actually wanted him to come out and say, no, I'm not interested in this. There were a lot of conspiracy theories around him contesting because they want this and that, this,
They wanted to rotate and all of those things.
Interesting. But, well, it's good for him to come out now, but I think it's a bit late.
Yes.
And then end power fraud. ICPC detains Debanj. Lawyer cries foul. Oh, so it's in detention.
Yes.
Oh, my. No. Okay. So still above the nameplate of the paper, Buhari failed Leah Sharibu. That's according to an activist. Which activist? Get to see more on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Not only Leah Sharibu, all of the students that you also read out on the Daily Trust newspaper there. Just below the pictures on the front pages, and the pictures are about citizens, queuing for petrol.
No,
what's this?
No, I think it's EFCC auctions.
Oh, okay. So I mean, it's a picture of the auction of the cars. Imane, this is where you were supposed to be yesterday.
I would have been here. One of these persons now with the car. Oh my!
Oh my!
I mean, look at the crowd. Look at the number of persons who came. Nigerians are known to be willing to always get things at cheaper prices. I mean, look at the crowd. I saw someone on a military uniform. Yes, and is that a military uniform? Of course it is. Maybe it's providing security. Okay, I can see.
No, he came to buy.
I can tell. All these are people with a lot of persons who have come.
This is a crowd.
Yes, yes. So it's actually, I suppose it would be a first come, first served thing, because
no, it's about the auction process, who bids highest, and you can be sure that this they'll get it at a fairly good price, because it won't be at market rate again.
Fairly good price.
Oh my, Emmanuel, I think I should include myself now. We need to know the venue of the next auction.
Yes, the EFCC published last week that they were going to auction ships to maybe I'll buy a ship instead of a car.
Oh, so you
Yes,
take ship to work.
Yes.
That's interesting. I mean, so you create water channels for you
From my house
from
to this place.
Agumbelio down to Agumbelio. That's
Yes.
good. All right. Well, just that headline there. EFCC auctions forfeited cars wants compliance with guidelines, and that's what that picture is all about. EFCC auctions forfeited cars wants compliance with guidelines. If you want to know the guidelines, do well to check page 8 of the Punch newspaper. And the bottom strip of the paper, polls, INEC knocks Tinubu over comment on e-transmission. Okay, so I think you made a comment at the Chatham House about not having enough, not being convinced yet about the capability of INEC to do that. And
Transmit
it's also concern, sort of, because his party, the APC, also made similar comments in the past about the beavers and the e-transmission.
And I think this continues to undermine the position of INEC.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people who may not have seen issues with INEC, despite INEC's assurances. And now a leading presidential candidate coming out to toe the line of his party by undermining INEC's ability. It doesn't really bode well for our electoral system. I mean, you can ask INEC how they intend to do it, but coming out to outrightly say you don't have confidence in the system, it makes the ordinary Nigerians to want to doubt the system. And then it puts INEC in a precarious situation now, because even if the transmission is perfect, because of some comments that have been made, some persons will want to tie, and no system is absolute. There will definitely be issues, one or two machines, network problems, and that will now form the basis of many persons, you know, talking and saying that INEC did not, part of the issues that the APC is submitting in Osun now to the Election Petitioner Tribunal is the issue of the beavers. You know, that matter is in court. It's part of the things that they're trying to prove, you know, in court, to reclaim what they say is a mandate that has been stolen. But this kind of comments will water down the integrity of INEC. Yeah,
and sure, I mean, it's a confidence game. It's a confidence business, sort of.
Yes.
So you need people to have confidence and belief in the system. And like you rightly noted, comments like these eat at the confidence of the people, especially if it's coming from a known political figure. And we made reference to the Osun issue. It's subsidies, really, about the fact that some of the issues are around the credibility of the beavers and some of the results that came out from it. And I had an interface with the INEC chairman at a meeting for media executives, and I personally asked that question, but it won't be drawn. I expected I would not want to talk. He said it's subsidies because it's in court. But he said, you know, I asked him about the synchronization and the non-synchronization, but he said that he didn't speak much about it, but I told him, and I let him know that it's also beginning to be a source of worry for many people who ordinarily had commended them for the outcome of the elections, but then comments like this, with incidences like that, the one in the court, add together, begins to cast doubt, you know, bring up doubts in the minds of the people, and INEC will not want that. So it's important that our politicians are responsible in their comments, and like you said, ask questions about the preparedness, but then not really cast aspersions or doubt their ability to do this. We need the people to have full, implicit confidence in the election management body. Police launch manhunt for woman who burnt parents. That's terrible.
That's terrible. We've been reading really terrible stories recently. I think that the collective psyche of Nigerians has really been tampered with. That's how I see it to a large extent. A lot of persons are walking psychotics. A lot of persons are walking psychological imbalances. People who would ordinarily not do certain things. I mean, for those who are into the African traditional religion, you cannot take away some diabolical things. But there are people who are just, they have a warped sense of reality because of trauma, because of so many things that have happened. And now someone is burning her parents. Yeah. The other day was someone killing their child for disturbing them. You know, a lot of nasty things coming out of Nigeria recently, and we hope that the police are able to bring that woman to book.
And I think, again, we need to invest more in mental health.
Yes.
You know, so there is a tendency for us here in Nigeria to ignore or to dismiss, you know, issues like depression. We won't be surprised to hear that every Nigerian say there's nothing like depression. but the Western world takes it very seriously. So I mean, I have friends who lecture in universities abroad that will tell me that, okay, the student they saw yesterday was bubbling and who attended class and attended their lecture, and they just got a mail from the school and say, okay, so please pay attention to him, or he's not going to be part of the class for some time because he's facing some mental illness. I saw him yesterday. Yes, are you sure? But that's how serious, they hold and take mental health. We do not do that here. And we tend to say, no, it's nothing. And then even for those who are depressed, say, no, you don't need to be there. Cheer up. Cheer up.
Is that why you're depressed?
Is that why you're depressed? We need to do more. And like you said, a lot of people are walking psychotics, who are borderline psychiatric patients, but we seem not to have a framework where there's no plan, there's no understanding of it. So our health system is in shambles, even for the basic issues.
Yes.
For treating malaria and whatever, so let alone. And because of the Japa syndrome, most of those who they need abroad, in the UK, in some part of Europe, in US, are even mental health physicians. And so we're losing our psychiatrists at a fast rate. Go around our hospitals and ask how many psychiatrists are there in our hospitals. Again, most of them have left for the greener pasture. And so we have a problem. We have not recognized that we have a problem, let alone proper solutions.
Yes, and also when people like these are caught, I believe have faith in the judicial system, but there's also, thank God it's now the correctional service, there's also the need to provide them with certain psychological help in the correctional centers. They need to be taken care of, not just allowed to do hard labor or spend time in jail and come out. Some of them need to really have their mental whatever examined and reevaluated and helped, so that when they come out, they've not just served time, they've also become refined in their minds.
All right. Okay, so the last deadline on the Punch is about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Gridlock worsens amidst road work suspension. Gridlock worsens amidst. I thought that with the suspension of work that the gridlock was going to get better, but it appears that it has actually worsened here.
Well, Lagos is a place that has so many people. It has hundreds and thousands and millions of people on the road at the same time, and so it's apparently going to happen that way. You have gridlock when you have a suspension of work, diversion of traffic, and all of those things. People would want to take alternative routes, and that it means that alternative route will be crowded. For instance, in Osogbo here, when the bridge was being built, some roads were closed and people had to take the Awosoro Market Road. That road became so busy that articulated vehicles began, brushing the sides of buildings. So that you have things like that in Lagos too.
All right, so that's it about the Punch newspaper.
Yes, let's quickly look at what we have on this day newspaper this morning, Thursday, the 8th of December. NNPC, that's the banner headline. NNPC, how we raised crude oil production from 900,000 million barrels per day to 1.6 million barrels per day. That's what is adorning the face of this day newspaper this morning. That's the banner headline. Clarify 70% illegal refineries. Yeah, you have that. Reveals Nigeria was losing millions of barrels monthly. That's for the story for the NNPC this morning. And above that story, you have UK. We have no preferred presidential candidate in Nigeria. AOC chieftain donates 70 cars to support Tinubu Shettima campaign. In the first instance, why should the UK be talking about a preferred presidential candidate?
So they're just clearing your mind that they do not have one.
They should not even be tied to it in the first place. It's not their election, it is our election.
No, trust Nigerian politicians to tell you that the UK
even endorse, yes.
So they need to come out strong.
It's good that they're clarifying that. Okay, away from that story, still on the These Day newspaper this morning, Airtel wins 5G license, emerges sole bidder for additional 2 lots in 3.5 gigahertz spectrum auction. That's on the These Day newspaper this morning. Fallout of Naira redesign. Analysts back CBN's cash withdrawal policy. and the number of riders there says move will boost monetary policy effectiveness, tax compliance, may strengthen Naira, urge Apex Bank to reduce bank charges, CBN deputy governor nominees to explain new policy to senators during screening on Friday. That's on the These Day newspaper this morning. But I think that's the much we can take from the papers this morning.
All right, so that's the papers today on Morning Spring. We're back here after the break with our guests. But I mean, interestingly, the These Day headline about the cash withdrawal limits seems to be the only positive.
Yes, yes.
All others were from the complaints of would-be users.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll keep tabs and we'll be monitoring when the deputy governors come around to the Senate to defend. They'll actually be doing their screening, the confirmation hearing, but then they will be talking a lot about this new policy. We'll be back after this break.
How would you like a TV station that breaks the barriers of your TV screen? A TV station that brings infotainment to your forefront, breaking the conceptual fourth wall. Giving you television that is personal to you and your everyday life. Indigenous broadcasting for every man, cutting across the shackles of age, class, and language. With the best of equipment in digitized broadcasting. At Western Spring Television, your television experience has never been this magical.
We'll bring you the best in news and programs, breaking news to you as it drops from where it drops.
Talk shows that keep you glued to your seats, sports programs not void of in-depth analysis, entertainment programs cutting across all ages, political analysis with all its accompanying controversies, social responsibility because we care. Western Nigeria gave us our first feel of television. Western Spring Television is taking us to the next level.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're on to Morning Spring and it's reaching you from Western Spring Television. We're reaching you from StarTimes channel 190 on our DTT platform. You can also check us on our social media handles, especially on YouTube, where you can watch us live. That's at Western Spring Television. When you check out YouTube, do well. It's very important that you subscribe to our channel right there. On Facebook and on Instagram, also Western Spring Television. And on Twitter, it's at WSTV_NG. We have our guest with us in the studios this morning, the Director General of the Ademola Adeleke Campaign Council that brought in the governor into office, was a former chairman of, he's a former chairman of the PDP in Osun State. He's also the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP here in Osun State. Honorable Sunday Bisi joins us in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Spring, sir.
Thanks so much. It's good to be here.
Thank you. I thought you lost your voice because of yesterday's activity.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sure it's clear now.
That's what's happened, exactly. Yes.
All right, so tell us, how was it yesterday? You hosted the presidential candidate of your party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and several other bigwigs of your party. How was it yesterday?
Well, we thank God for giving us yesterday. The turnout, was very impressive. People came in their numbers, for the campaign rally. As usual, that is what we've been witnessing in Osun of recent. Since the coming of the governor, His Excellency Senator Ademola Adeleke, the turnout has always been very, very impressive. And that of yesterday was damn too good. We thank God for giving us the day.
Well, so that yesterday, I'm sure you made some pronouncement by the turnout of the crowd. You're a politician. You will tell me that you're sure that you're going to win. You believe that Atiku will take Osun?
It's not taking Osun. Osun is PDP. PDP is Osun. If you follow our history very well, it's 2018 when Ademola Adeleke comes. 2017 when he came, during the regime of Aregbesola, his performance as a senatorial candidate then was very, very impressive. He defeated, the incumbent, winning almost 9 out of 10 local governments. In 2018, he repeated the same feat by defeating, the outgone governor now, though it was shortchanged. But you saw what happened in the 2022 July 16 election. We had a kind of landslide victory. So with that crowd of yesterday, we are sure of winning, not even winning, we are going to win with a very, very wide margin.
Well, so that victory, it takes me. I had some people doing some analysis about some couple of weeks back before the governor was sworn in, and they said it's not like the PDP actually had a landslide victory at the election that brought in the governor. I was shocked. So they said it was only 28,000 votes, and so that shows that the APC perhaps is a very strong in the state. So how confident are you that you get more? You feel that the Osun is PDP, which is just by a margin of 28,000 votes.
28,000 votes, I will thank God for that. We are going to improve on that. Mind you, the governor has come in now, and he has been doing very well. That will naturally endear him to people more. And the APC in Osun is currently in disarray. That is what happens when you lose power. You understand they have lost power, and the confidence will not be there again.
Did it happen to, are you talking from experience here now, Honorable BC? He said when you lose power, that's what happens to you. Did it happen to your party also when you lost power?
It happened to us.
Oh.
In the election we had in 2011. After the court judgment that brought in Aregbe in 2010, you understand many of our supporters were disillusioned. And many of them went and joined the APC. Those who did not join were not so enthusiastic about it again. So naturally it will happen. So the same thing is happening to APC now.
Well, in the aftermath of the governorship election, there were some issues within your party, some expulsion, some fallout, some suspensions. Would you say that you've cleaned house and your party is now one?
We are one now. You understand? Let me tell you, you have a kind of fifth columnist. In any organization, you will have them. You understand? We had them in PDP. Even before we took over, they were there working for the government in power. They were working for APC, and they were in PDP. We knew them, but we just thought that probably they would have a change of heart. But they didn't until we had an election, and it was clear that they worked for APC then. So they have to be expunged from the party. That is exactly what happened.
Well, those persons too also have their supporters. Don't you think that a fraction of your votes in next year would also go with them?
It's not fraction. When you look at them, I wouldn't want to mention their names, but the votes they have are very infinitesimal. It's not that much, you understand. And you you cannot just keep that kind of people in the party. They are contagious. If you do not, it's just like when you have a cancer and the doctor advised that you should cut that side off. If you didn't cut it off, it will just spread to other areas. That's exactly what we have done.
All right. Still talking about the campaign, the rally yesterday. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State was conspicuously missing, and one would expect, a lot of persons were expecting to see him, seeing as he's also a member of the PDP, your party, and it's just 2 hours away. Was there any sort of communication to invite him, or why was he absent?
This is Osun and not Oyo State. And of recent, he has not been coming to Osun for anything. He was not here during our campaign. He was not here during our swearing in. And for him to be absent yesterday doesn't make any difference. You understand? He's the governor of Oyo State. I'm not governor of Osun State. So then without him in Osun State, we have been moving forward. And with him not coming yesterday, we'll continue to move forward in Osun. Doesn't make any difference.
I mean, so is there an issue between Osun PDP and Oyo PDP? Or should I say between Adeleke, the Adeleke family, the Adeleke dynasty, political dynasty, and Seyi Makinde? Because, I mean, you just said, of course, he did not come for the inauguration as well. It was not here for the campaign. It was not
even in the campaign at all.
It wasn't even in the campaign at all. And it's been like that for some time. Other governors came. If governors from Akwa Ibom,
even during the inauguration,
governors from
the north were around.
Came around. So why the only PDP governor in the southwest before Adeleke was sworn in? Is there anything that you like to tell us that's happening?
No, I don't think there's anything.
No, I mean, so there is something, but perhaps you do not want to tell us. But it would be good for you to just let us into it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any issue. Understand? He's an human being. He might have decided not to come to Osun State.
What could have led to him?
I don't know. He will be in the best position to answer that question.
Well, let me take
you understand? Because some of the governors, I mean, it was part of those selected to lead the campaign in Osun by the National Working Committee of the party. So if he has decided to stay away, we don't know. He will be in the best position to answer why he has not been coming to Osun State. But like I said, he's from Oyo State, we are from Osun State. We are capable of handling our fears here in Osun State.
But in March 2021, during the PDP Southwest convention, he was here in Osun State. I think I was part of those who spoke to him on the day of that particular election. I think that was about the last time he was seen in Osun State. If he could come then, during that period, even before that period, what changed between 2021 March and now?
Well, I wouldn't know, but you must know. You know that Seyi Makinde belongs to a group of G5. I mean, the group that calls itself Integrity group. You understand? Probably that's the reason why it has not been showing up in Osun. And like I said, we are individual. Osun is an independent state. We are not part of Oyo State. Like I said, we are capable of handling our affairs here alone without anybody coming, to join us. It was here in March, yes, to grab power, to have the control over the Southwest ESCO, the zona ESCO of the PDP. He got it. That doesn't stop us from producing our governor. So, like I said, he will be in the best position to explain why he has not been showing up, why he has not been coming. And we don't miss him in Osun. Yeah.
You do not miss him?
I don't. We don't.
So, I mean, your choice of word is interesting. You said he came in March to grab power. Perhaps was it, this is this sort of cold relationship between Oyo and Osun PDP, between Adeleke, the governor, and him? Is it a fallout of that?
We do not have issue with him. It is natural. A politician will always want power to himself. He wanted to be in control of Southwest. Then we were to select our to select our Southwest officers. And he got all the Southwest officers, has gone with it. And that has nothing to do with us in Australia.
Do you know if at all, he did not come for the inauguration, one would expect? Has there been any congratulatory message from him to the governor?
Yeah, he sent one.
Sent a congratulation?
To be honest, yes, he sent a congratulatory one.
A written message? Or was it a phone call?
I wouldn't know. That will be between him and the governor. You understand? But we read it on social media and the newspaper.
Oh, you read it on social media,
And
not
newspaper.
not that you got
because
it
you are the
directly.
DG of the campaign, so one way or so that you would know. I mean, because a lot of people have been worried about the coldness or the cold relationship between men who are supposed to be the closest because they are the only ones in their party in that region.
And what happens when they have to interface at the southwest level of the party?
Yeah, well, you remember the last time Atiku, our incoming president, visited, the Southwest, it was hosted in Seyi Makinde was there. And Governor Adeleke had not been sworn in then. He was there as a governor-elect. So that's why I said, I don't think there's any code, but he will be in the best position to explain why has not been coming to. As for us in Osun, we don't have any issue with
You don't miss him at all.
Why? We don't miss. Whoever doesn't come, we do not miss that person. We don't miss him.
So
So that
who
will
is the
contribute.
PDP Southwest leader now?
PDP Southwest leader. We have not met to take a decision on that. You understand? He's a governor in Oyo State. We have governor here in Osun State. Leadership issue doesn't even occur. Senator Ademola Adeleke is a leader of PDP in Osun State. And Governor Seyi Makinde is a leader of PDP in Oyo State. We have not met to say who is this, who is that. It's there like when you are saying South, where PDP is holding sway, they've not come out one day to say that one governor is the leader of the party in that region. You know, in South, we have Governor Wike, you have that of Akwa Ibom, Udom Emmanuel, you have that of Edo State, you have Ifeanyi Okowa from there. All of them they are coexisting. You know, they've not sat down to say that this one is the leader. Everybody listens.
Okay, so back to yesterday's campaign now. There was a defection, so to say, of former governorship candidate of the Labour Party, that's Honorable Lasson Yusuf, who joined your party yesterday. What does this portend for your party?
Well, we are having people that matter, politicians who are grassrooted in our party. Mind you, is formerly the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. Someone to have reached that height, is a plus for PDP. We are happy to have him in our midst. And let me tell you one thing, Right Honorable Lasson Yusuf was, in PDP before. We were in that government between 2003 and 2010, before he left for the then, was it AC or ACN, where he contested for House of Reps and won, and eventually became the deputy speaker of House of Reps. So coming back to PDP is just like a homecoming, to him. Yes.
Well, in the last governorship election, Honorable Lasson Yusuf had just a little above 2,000 votes. And the people are saying for a person of his political pedigree to have that little number of votes, he may not in any way substantially change the standing of the PDP. Do you agree with that?
It will eventually change the standing of PDP in his constituency and Osun as a whole. Let me tell you one thing about politicians. People value the platform more than individual. You understand? PDP has been in existence since 1998, and I want to be a foundation member of that party. You understand? If you're in PDP, you are winning, If you leave PDP for any other party, people will not follow you. That is one thing with the politicians. You understand? They'll regard you as a leader when you are with them. But when you now decide to deflect to other party, probably many of them will not say, they will not follow you to that party. That's exactly what used to happen. Alhaji Fattah Akinbade used to be a very good politician, big politician, grassroots politician that would defer to, when we were in PDP. But when he left for, Labour Party, many of his supporters did not go with him. You understand? When he came back to PDP, all the supporters went to him again and said, you have come back, our leader. That's it. That's exactly what used to happen. So having 2004 doesn't really mean anything. He has come back, and I will know he will work assiduously to make sure that the votes during this presidential election actually increase.
So, aside Right Honorable Lasson Yusuf, do we have others who joined or who you are privy to that will join in the coming days and weeks, will join your party?
People are coming. You understand? People have been coming after the gubernatorial election. After the gubernatorial election, we went to Jabujesha to receive Dr. Wale Bolondro as joined us. So many APC member are coming to PDP. We have them in all our local governments. Have been coming to us. A few weeks ago, I was in the Jibo to receive one strong politician from APC too. So they have been coming almost every time. At Ifedayo the other time, when they are receive members of APC who came to PDP. So many of them have been doing that one silently. It's only because national relationships, it's a big fish from someone who has played politics at the national level. That's why you that kind of thing yesterday. People have been coming to PDP.
So what is good for the party? I mean, I understand party politics is about numbers. So the more the merrier. Yes. But then there are those who also expressed the concern that, so would this not cause some more crisis for the party? Because those who are joining new and those who have been in the party for long. I mean, you, for instance, you've been a foundation member of I'm not sure you've ever left the party for once.
I have not.
You've been in the party all through. So for those who are coming, who have left and returned, or who are just joining now, I say, okay, so when it's time to share the spoils of office, that they will also be there. And I've had some people saying, we won't cause problem around that time. How do you intend to manage?
It won't cause problem. You know, when you look at PDP and its history, we've been there for a very long time now. They know how to manage all these things you were saying, the sharing of office and some other thing like that. So we know how to do it. It will not cause any problem. If it has not been causing problem ever since, it won't cause problem now. Like we said, the more, the merrier. We know how to manage, the situation. Many of us managing the affairs of the party, we've been here for a very long time. We know how to place things. You understand? You're like in a football match. You have so many players, but you will know those who are good, at playing number 9, those number 10, some others like that. We'll be able to fix them. It won't cause any problem. I can give you that assurance. All
right, so before we come talk about the local politics of Osun here, you heard the Presidential Campaign Council here in Osun State, and there was a statement that was issued, yesterday, that you boasted, that the Campaign Council boasted, the spokesman of the council, Malam Alaw Rashid, who was also the spokesman of the governor, said that you're sure that the PDP will garner over 60% of votes at the polls next year. You know, what brings such confidence? And is that statement about the vote here in Osun? Or are you talking about the national level?
That would be our contribution from Osun.
From Osun?
Yes.
You're sure you're going to deliver 60% of the votes?
More than that. We are going to deliver more than that in Osun.
What gives you that kind of a confidence?
We know, we are sure now. Understand? We've been winning. We have been winning here. And we're going to repeat the same fate. So, and with the performance of our governor, is going to perform excellently well. People will just have to come to us. And with the situation in the country, everybody is feeling, the pains of this government that is going. When they were coming, talk of 3 points agenda, talk of insecurity, talk of corruption, talk of increasing the economy. They have not done anything. Banditry, everything, you understand? When you go to some states in Nigeria, these bandits, the Boko Haram people, they've taken over. And the last time in Borno State, they sworn in their own governor. Can you imagine that kind of a situation? There are local governments in Borno State that is purely Boko Haram state, and people of that area have been subjected, to the rule of Boko Haram. What is killings every day and night? I say I have one in my hand now. It was coming from Abuja, in a vehicle at that of Bajana. It was stopped and they kidnapped all of them inside common bus. And they forced us to raise about 5 million naira, for her. Understand? We're still looking for the money up to now. She's still there as I'm talking to you. That is the situation in Nigeria. So the thing is not, these people do not have solution to what is happening in Nigeria now. So people have, rejected them. And they are going to show them that, at the post.
So you're saying your candidate can fix all of these issues?
We did it in 1999, he was the running mate to President Olusegun Obasanjo, the vice president, and he was in charge of the Economic Council. The Economic Advisory Council, then Vice President Abubakar was the head. He brought in the team that managed our economy then. The likes of Okonjo-Iweala, this Aerofire, and many of them like that were brought, from where they were holding sway. The world, they brought them to Nigeria, and we were able to fix it. Our debts were written off, and you understand, we were able to, stabilize the economy that Nigeria even became one of the highly rated economies, something in the world. So he has that experience. So he's able to do that, he will do it. He's capable of doing it.
Well, there is the Yoruba sentiment attached to the forthcoming polls. The fact that a lot of persons see that the presidency should come to the southwest or to the south generally, and it's been a driving point of a particular political party and its candidate. How do you think, considering the fact that Osun is, a core Yoruba state, how do you intend to counter this particular sentiment?
They were able to defeat them, in Osun State on July 16. We're going to repeat the same fate. We are Nigerians. You understand? Yes, we are Yoruba, but we are Nigerians. And when you look at us, the Yoruba, in the setting, we've had our fair share. Understand? President Olusegun Obasanjo was president of this country between 1999 and 2007, spending 8 years. You understand? Before the thing returned to, the North then, our president, the President Yaradua, he died 2 years after. The thing came back to the South again. And President Jonathan was able to spend another 6 years. When you add 6 years plus 8 years, that will be about 14 years.
The 2 years, first 2 years, were a completion of the Northern mandate.
But it was South. Who was there?
In acting capacity.
Well, acting or no acting, he was a president of the country then. Nobody addressed him as the acting president of the country, but the president of Nigeria. So he spent 2 years. That is 6 years plus 8 years. You have that 14 years. The thing went back to the North again. And President Buhari spent, is here to complete his 8 years. So when you do the plus and the minus, we are still holding sway in Yoruba land. In the South here. You understand? So I think we should allow the thing, to the North, let them, spend that number of years and let the thing come back here again. Besides, we are PDP, they are APC. They can bring any reason for bringing it. If they want to be fair, they should go to Southeast and produce a candidate. That's the only, geopolitical zone, here that has not produced president.
So why did your party not toe that line?
Our party, you have to look, you have to calculate very well before you pick a president candidate. You don't just pick president candidate for fun. You'll be looking for votes. So that you have to do it. And you look at people who can make it happen. We know with the experience of Vice President Abubakar, who has served in that capacity, they will be able to turn the fortune of this country around. And not those people who have been boasting and doing things, and at the end of the day will not be able to perform. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu brought in, the APC to Osun State. He brought in, Ayatollah, he said, Ayatollah is richer than Osun State. They are doing this and that. What do we say? They came to Osun State and looted Osun State. So nothing to show for it. If you say you are richer than the state, I think you should bring that your wealth of experience. You will come to that state and establish industry and some other thing like that. What did they say? Not even a filling station, not a pure water factory. They came, they saw, and they looted. They are back to their base in Lagos now.
All right, so let's come back to local politics.
That sentiment Emmanuel talked about the fact that a Yoruba man is on the ballot, and the sentiments that, okay, so a Fulani man has ruled for 8 years, it's time that we'll come back to the South. Those twin sentiments, are you sure it's not going to hurt you? The Omawani Ajoshe kind of sentiments of Woody Emilio Khan, whatever he is.
It's not going to do anything to us. People are wiser than before. You cannot just play on their intelligence. It was this Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that brought in Buhari then. Use all this money and everything to install him. You understand? And nowadays, denying him. It was not the one that is ruling, that is Buhari that is ruling. Someone who said that if after a year they did not perform, they should be stoned. You understand? It's now turning around. You don't do that in an advanced country. See what happened in Britain of recent. Liz Truss, when she was asked to lead the country, when after a few, months that she knew she could not do anything, she just put in a little resignation. You understand? So how many times have Asiwaju gone to Buhari to tell him to just quit the stage when the ovation is loudest? You understand? Want to bring another calamity, to this country.
How do you mean calamity? So what have said he's very experienced. He's managed Nigeria's most complex states, Lagos, and they said he's the architect of modern Lagos.
Which modern Lagos is?
That's what they say.
No, they are saying it, but we know what happened in Lagos. Those things we are seeing in Lagos today, was done between 1999 and 1979 and 1983, when Alhaji Lateef Jakande was there. There was a one who established Lagos State University. He did so many things in that state then. There was the one who eradicated the shift system in the education in Lagos. Because in those days, they used to have shift system. People would go in the morning, they would return. Some students would go in the afternoon. It was Jakande that reformed that something. He abolished the shift system and built so many schools that could accommodate so many people. He did it. All the revolution you are seeing in Lagos was done by Jakande. Most of the big roads there was done by Jakande within that 4 years. And these people have spent from 1999 up to now. They've been in Lagos. What have they done? Which architect of modern Lagos?
So you're saying Tinubu cannot lay claim to any success story in Lagos?
He must have done his own bit.
Okay.
But to say that what would you now call Jakande? That established so many institutions in Lagos. If that one is not the father of Lagos or the architect of modern Lagos, or what would you argue? So that is not, he cannot manage Nigeria.
But you talked about, the financial re-engineering, as they say, of Lagos, looking at where he met the IGR of the state to where it is today. They said, this kind of thing we also need at the national level. They talked about the number of disciples he has been able to raise, the leaders of, he's a leader of men. And all of that, mentored a lot. And said some of these things stands him shoulders and head above other candidates in the race.
That is not, it's just concerned about the economy aspect you have raised. Who is in charge of our revenue of Lagos? Or the percentage is he getting after? At the end of every month. Who owns Alpha Beta? You understand? So don't let us go into that. I don't want to go into his personality, but all I know is that he cannot lead Nigeria very well. You understand? Is Lagos, but Atiku Abubakar has been Nigeria, vice president of this country. The experience, the cognitive experience is just there. So when you are looking for someone who can fix, Nigeria, Atiku, is the best option that we're having right now.
He calls himself the unifier, talking about Atiku, that is going to unify the country. Evidently the country is fractured, a lot of discontent in the land, a lot of suspicion at different levels. But his critics have said, if you want to unify the country, why not unify your party first? They said he has failed in that onerous assignment of unifying his party. They say some governors are hell bent on dealing with him. He's not been able to pacify or unify Wike and his gang of co-travelers. So how, if he has failed at that level, how is he going to convince Nigerians that he's going to unify Nigeria?
Well, let me tell you one. The first instance, Atiku is not the party chairman of PDP.
But he's the leader of the party.
He's a leader.
And he's a candidate of the party.
He's a candidate of the party. You understand? When you look at it critically, you will know that there is a marked difference between the two. When you look at this Wike and this court traveler that you said, they have been in control of the party for a very long time. It was these people that brought in Ali Modu Sheriff into the party to lead the party. they were the one who sent him away. They brought Prince Uche Secondus into the party. They sent him away. They brought this Ayu, Senator Ayu, they brought him to the party and said he should go again. The party has a constitution, for God's sake. If you want to send anybody away, you should follow the constitution to the letter. Not just waking up in your room and say, you don't want the face of this man in the party again, you should go. It's not like that. When this party was founded, I mean in 1998, probably they were not around then. Even they were around, you know, maybe they were playing just their politics, but internationally, it's not done. Someone who has not committed any offense, you were saying that should let the power come to the South. They've forgotten that there is a kind of agreement in the Constitution. If the power wants to shift to the South, then there's going to be mid-term convention. That's what we have been preaching. There should be mid-term convention. When that time comes, if Atiku eventually becomes the president, then automatically the party structure, the chairman of the party and others will have to come to the South. The position we are holding in the South now will have to go to the North. That is the arrangement. But without getting to that time, I mean, with the mid-term convention, there's nothing you can do. Because you are going to have a kind of lacuna. If you say, you should resign. If you resigns today, according to the PD constitution, another northern, I mean, the deputy national chairman will eventually take over from Ayu. So you have that one again to resign. So it's not done that way.
But you know, but they said that the PDP has always found a way to do it. In fact, I've heard supporters of Wike say that's just an excuse, that if the party really wants to do it, they know how to do it. That it is about sacrifice in the interest of the party, for the unity of the party. And they said if there was a gentleman's agreement that Ayu himself alluded to that was going to leave if a northerner emerges, that, you know, how do you justify before Nigerians having two northerners at the topmost positions of the party, that it's actually achievable, that all of these instances, you know, granted it's in the Constitution, but they said that it could be done, that it's been done before.
Let him bring out, number one, where Ayu signed an agreement.
But he talked about it. Is that not valid enough?
He talked about it, and it's not that imagine as a candidate. There's a difference between being a candidate and eventually being the president of the country.
Was that what you said?
No, that's what I'm telling you. If you haven't, we are saying that someone has emerged a candidate, then the person who was occupying the position of chairman should go. What of, I mean, peradventure, any other thing happens? What happens then? Do you have to sit down again and return the position to that? It's not done that way. What we are saying that he should just be patient. Let us have the presidential election. Let Atiku Abubakar, becomes the president of the country. Then you watch it there. Then all the power will now shift. The position people are occupying in the South now. Well, you know, let me tell you one thing. They just want to create a problem for the party. And we are wiser than that. If you say, gentleman agreement, that Ayu should resign, well, what happened? The deputy national chairman from the North will become the chairman. You now say the man should resign? Or the man say no. Constitutionally, he is the one who should be in the charge. Then what happened to the position in the South? The secretary of the party in the South and from the other one, we now ask those people to resign again. So what kind of a way? Let him bring his paper to us and let us see how to do that one thing. It's not just possible. It should be patient enough. For you to have lost the election doesn't mean that everybody again, should just toe your line.
You think it's because they lost the presidential primary?
What happened? What happened? Was it not there when the committee was set up? You understand? Was there when the committee was set up? They engineered something that when the committee was set up that they should go and zone party position. Categorically, the committee reported then that the position of the chairman has been zoned to the North. You understand? They shared the position. But when they now said that they should go and zone the presidential position, it was Autumn who was the chairman of that something, but one of the G5 now. When he came with this report, it was not categorical that the presidency should come to the South. He just threw the thing open. You understand? He threw the thing open. Why didn't they do what he did when it was the time for party position? And it was this wicked group, the integrity group, that was driving all this thing we are saying. But they never knew they were not going to win that something, even if it was thrown up. Now they lost, then they are now singing another, different songs. It's not done that way. People should follow the rules of the law. You cannot just change. The goalposts at the middle of the game. It's the middle of the game that you should wait. Let us finish this election. You understand? When Atiku becomes president, there will be time. We used to have midterm convention in PDP. When you have midterm convention, you can write all this. You can correct. If there's any anomaly, you can correct it. You can change the whole thing. But not now, when we are looking for votes. Not now when we are doing all these things.
But if you're looking for votes now, shouldn't you try at least to show up the issues and then find a way to reconcile all of these warring parties?
This is what we have been doing. You understand? Thank God you said, they didn't say they are going to leave PDP. You understand? Because they have their own candidates. Many of them are candidates in the coming election. So what some of them are saying is that you should vote for Senate, and there's something, vote for this, don't vote for president. It's not done that way. They don't
and
own
it's
the
not
party.
going to affect you.
It's not going to affect us. You are dealing, with people. Let me tell you one thing today. If Wike tomorrow leaves PDP in Rivers, that doesn't mean people of Rivers will leave PDP. Governor Rotimi Amici was in Rivers before. One of our strongest governor then. He left PDP and he lost Rivers to PDP. Since then, they have not won Rivers. So it's just a kind of determination. This is a party we belong to. People are there.
And are you sure it's still going to continue? If you look at the fact that in Nigeria's political history, especially in this Fourth Republic, if you're going to win the Nigerian presidency, you need to win either of the three most populous states. Rivers, in terms of votes now, Rivers, Lagos, and Kano. So as it stands, Lagos and Kano are with the APC. Rivers, that is with the PDP, is shaken. Wike is fighting on all fronts and has refused to endorse your candidate. So if you lose, if by projections, Kano and Lagos are not with you. So Rivers is also shaking. How do you intend to win the presidency?
Number one, Kano. You understand? We are going to win Kano.
You are going to win Kano?
Yes. We have Shekarau in Kano. Those who determine the vote of Kano. Yeah, Shekarau and Rabi Kwankwaso.
Kwankwaso is in the NNPP.
It's in the NNPP. Just wait. Very soon you will see what will happen to NPP. We are politicians. We used to do calculation very well. Kwankwaso will know that for now NPP will not take him to anywhere. So he's going to have a rethink. You understand?
And you are sure that rethink would favor your party?
It's going to favor us now. He has tried APC before. You understand? And Kwankwaso and the current governor of Kano, mind you, this current governor of Kano was a Kwankwaso deputy when he was a governor there. You understand? So if Kwankwaso fell out from this Ganduje and the Shekarau fell out with Ganduje, you think Ganduje will able to win Kano again? That is not possible.
So that explains for Kano. Then what about Rivers, which is your own traditional state?
As at now, we know we don't wish Wike away in Rivers. We just pray that we'll have a rethink. You understand? But we still have our leaders in Rivers who are in PDP. Former governor Peter Hodili has not said he has left PDP. Celestine Omeya has not left PDP. Right Honorable Boston Okpara, the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, has not left PDP. All these people are working for Atiku Abubakar. A tree doesn't make a forest, my brother. You understand? Is when you have, these people, these are people who have been, going this way in Rivers ever since. They are still with us.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Celestine Omeya, but recently he had a fallout with Governor Wike. Governor Wike, through the House of Assembly, stopped recognizing him as a former governor of the state. These are issues that are really, really eating into their party in Rivers State. And of course, Governor Odili and Governor Wike do not seem to be on a very different political path. They seem to be very close pals.
But Odili is supporting Atiku.
Has he declared openly for him?
What openly? You don't need to declare openly. If you're a member of a party, you have not said you have led that party, it means you're still with it.
Wike too has not left the PDP.
Yes, now. I know. we politicians were very wise. If you're looking for something, you will be doing, it's just craving for recognition, attention. You understand? So that you sit down and they will discuss and, this is what, but as for the removal of IU, that would not be possible. You should just, for Christ's sake, look for other things to ask for.
One condition Wike gave for supporting Atiku is that IU will not lead the campaign. So who leads the campaign?
IU has been leading the campaign now. So if, happened now. See what happened now in Osun yesterday? Maybe it's with IU. It was IU was there when we won this election in Osun.
So how do you do that? Well, how do you respond to that condition by Governor Wike?
No, it's not possible. IU will not resign. I can tell you that one for free. IU is not going to resign. Wike doesn't own this party. You understand?
And you're sure Governor Wike will come around?
To do what?
To accept the reality that IU will not resign?
He has to. Because he cannot go to APC. Rotimi Amechi is in APC and Rivers. So he cannot go to APC. So we left with no option other than to, work for Atiku in PDP. You know, the governorship candidate of PDP in Rivers, the candidate of Wike, all the assembly member, the candidate of Wike, all the House of Rep, all the Senate.
But the Rivers State government recently withdrew all criminal cases against Rotimi Amechi. Does that ring any bell for you, any alarm bells for you?
What kind of bell? A true leader will not be doing what he's saying. You move forward today, you go back tomorrow. You know, people do not listen to Wike again when he's ranting like he used to do on the television. He said, Mayor was governor yesterday, he has been removing. So people will just say you are not a serious kind of person. You don't have you don't have principle. You understand? That shows him as a man who doesn't have principle. Revoking lands, people have may apply for the certificate of occupancy, revoking their land just because they belong, not to your other party this time around. To your party and not be in the same fashion with you. No, you should learn from history. Very soon it will become a next governor. And all those powers just using it, they'll just get away.
You feel
you
feel Wike is too entitled. Is that what you feel? Because there are those who say, you said the other time that Wike does not own the party. Those who say Wike has really tried a lot for your party, and in fact they say he carried the party on his back, if you to use that euphemism, while the party was in crisis, that Wike was practically a major financier of the party, and he did not leave, and like Atiku had left and come back, and is this the right way to pay Wike back?
No, not paying anybody back. Dynamism. And politics is dynamics. Dynamics is in politics. You don't have to hold a position like that if you will not. You have to bend backwards or forward some other time. You understand? We know you have tried for the party. You have not left the party for a day like some of us here now. I will hold on to that belief that people will not come and join you. You have to listen to your people. People are suffering in this country. You wouldn't want APC to continue in this government. Then you have to bring someone, and you contested and you lost the election. The election was free and fair in Abuja. You understand? So you just have to let go of some of these things. You have been the one installing national chairman all the time. And you brought in IU and installed him as a chairman. And when you installed him as a chairman, when IU swore to, or something, it's just for a 4-year tenure. Now a president has emerged from the north and said he should just go. How many will just leave the party when it's just few months to the election? And you will resign. The national chairman in the north, all the people in the north will now resign. All the people in the south will not resign. You have to change position. You have to be going for another one. If any one of them goes to court, see that this thing, the person will just win. And the party will be in comatose. So it's not good for the party. It should have everything. If you invest in something, you will be expecting dividends in that thing. Well, he has invested in PDP, you should just let PDP win something.
Now, some are saying that this is part of the dividends he's expecting to get from the PDP.
The president, Abi, about your people, you have the delegates. Now, all of us went to, Abuja to elect, the presidential kind of our choice. And Atiku eventually emerged. So as a Democrat, you just have to embrace that.
Well, Honorable Sunday VC, we need to go and leave it at that. But we thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. We hope to see you again.
Thanks so much.
And then perhaps we'll be talking about the policies of Osun and asking you about what the party, what we'll be doing differently from what the APC did, here. But it's good to have you on Morning Spring today, sir.
Thanks so much, my brother.
Thank you. Honorable Sunday BC, former chairman of the PDP in Osun. Sunday, it's good to ask you. I mean, they talk about you wanting to come back as chairman of PDP. Am I just talking to that about in just 30 seconds? Is it true? Are you the next chairman of the PDP?
It depends on my people. You understand?
But you are interested. You like to return to the head of the party.
The last time I was the acting chairman, they brought me in. If they said I should go for it again, who am I to refuse?
And so, I mean, if you are not interested, but are you interested also?
The interest is the interest of my people. In my people.
So you wouldn't like to be chairman of PDP? Would you like to be chairman of the PDP?
If that's what my people want me to do, I can serve in any
the interest
capacity.
of the people.
I can serve in any capacity. If I manage the party to success, and if my people want me to continue so that the party will record so many successes, why would I just decline that offer?
Well, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Honorable Sunday VC is the former chairman of the PDP in Osun State, the DG of the Ademola Adeleke Campaign Council for the last election, and also the DG of the Atiku Kowa Presidential Campaign Council, Osun State chapter. Well, I'll be stepping aside as usual, and Emmanuel will come back with what's trending. Guy, what's trending today?
Well, the football season, the football transfer window is closed, but the political transfer window is open.
Oh,
you get to know who is buying who and who is joining who on Spring Trends
Hope
later.
is for world record transfer fees.
Yes, record fees. In fact, this is a free transfer.
Oh, it's a free transfer. Okay. I'd like to be a political agent so that I can also earn
manage,
as agents do, manage and get funds there. But that's the show today. Emmanuel will be back with what's trending. My name is Femi Olanikwekun. Good morning.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as the break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened, we have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as the break and recapped every hour for your update.
You must never forget the sacrifices of the heroes of Nigeria's democracy.
Produced and brought to you in a unique way never before seen.
Western Spring.
Western Spring.
And Western Spring Television.
Television is coming home in your color and culture.
All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us once again on Spring Trends on Western Spring Television, where we bring you who is trending, what is trending, why they are trending, and what people are saying about the who, what, and why. My name is Emmanuel Ujiadigele. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television, on Twitter at WSTV_NG. You can also watch us live and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Now let's go straight to what's trending. I did tell you during the interview section that the political transfer window is open. It's just about 2 months to the general election, and people are defecting and signing transfers, signing record fee transfers. Now here in Osun State, presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and his running mate Ifeanyi Okowa were here to campaign at the Freedom Park. Yesterday, former LP Labour Party governorship candidate in Osun State, Lasun Yusuf, who is also former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, switched allegiance to the People's Democratic Party on a free transfer. Now let's see what people are saying about that particular transfer on social media. We start with Facebook this morning. Right there on Facebook, we're starting with Yinka. If you can see him on your screen. Oh well, let's go back to that tweet. Akintunde Bello Sharif on Facebook is our first respondent this morning. And what is he saying? What are people saying about this? Okay, now Yinka Fiz says the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in the last gubernatorial election in Osun and former Deputy Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Right Honorable Lasun Yusuf, has said he shall no longer labour in vain. Remember that he left the Labour Party. He was received back into the official People's Democratic Party, PDP Nigeria, at the presidential campaign rally in Oshogbo today. That was yesterday. Now let's move on to the next comment from Kuzayat Alta. Kuzayat Alta says, nobody stays in a party where there is no single hope. The Labour Party gubernatorial candidate Yusuf Lasun, who lost the election in Osun State around July, is now fully articulated. Welcome to the winning team. Now we moved on to Twitter from Facebook. Tolulope Oyeloran says, politics is funny. When we told PDP guys that Lasun Yusuf, the LP Guba candidate, worked for Adeleke's victory, they refuted with mockery. Now that the fellow will be decamping to the PDP after the deed is done, they are celebrating profusely of receiving a stalwart at Peter Obi. Now let's move on. We're still on Twitter. Dr. Charles Odogu says, the same Lasun Yusuf PDP boys mocked for getting only 2,000 votes despite dragging Peter Obi into his show of shame is who they are celebrating today. Limau. How long will it take you guys to understand that 2023 election will not be about party, but individuals in the race? Now let's go back to the next comment. JJ Omojua says, the gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party in the just concluded Osun elections, former good Nigerian and an embodiment of the new Nigeria, whilst an LP member, Honorable Lasun Yusuf, has now joined the PDP. He left with the LP's massive 2,000 plus Osun votes from the election. I'm sure that's a very sarcastic comment. From politics, we move on to social issues. Now, Nigerian musician Oladapo Oyebanji, if you remember, Oyamekwi Tungolo, why me, I'm looking for a scapegoat, falling in love, the banjo and all of that, was yesterday arrested and detained at the headquarters of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Commission, ICPC, over alleged fund diversion of millions of Empower funds in collaboration with some government officials. That amount is almost to the tune of 100 million naira. Now let's see what people have to say about the Banji's arrest. We'll start with Dami. Nerdy Deb says, ghost beneficiaries were created to siphon money. Empower pays 30K. That's 360 per year. How do you know how many profiles you'd have to create to divert millions of naira? I'm not understanding the full picture. From Dami, we move over to Thompson Smoothie. Thompson Smoothie says, what has the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs to say about this? That office has shown very high level of financial corrupt practices. Thank God we can now start with the Banj as scapegoat. The next comment is from Lekon Salau. It says, most Nigerians don't hate corruption. They are angry that they are not the one benefiting from corruption. Many Nigerians will do Thanksgiving when they or their family members are benefiting from it. They believe it's God blessing. God have mercy. Right under that, Oyemade Kolawole says, succinct. Thanks so much for this. A thief will always consider himself or herself honest. When he or she does not have the opportunity to steal, we are culpable. Until we, the citizens, start doing the right thing, we can never have good leadership. That's very true. Now, Sam Atilola says the band mentioned government officials are unknown. Naija na Cruz. Oluwatimileyin Kolade says corruption is a monster we all condemn in public, but is a treasure we venerate in private. Many of those who spoke garrulously about corruption are sometimes corruption personified. The devil who has not been caught is an angel in the community of hypocrites. Auxiliary doctor just beneath it says, who are the government officials and what is their state? Or as usual, they will begin investigation after arrest. Let's keep our fingers crossed and watch keenly how this story unfolds. And indeed, we're waiting to see how this story unfolds. Will the band be vindicated? Will he be convicted? Will he be sent to jail to go and sing, have concerts in jail, Tungolo, Jamaica, Tungolo, all in prison? Let's see what happens with that story. Let's see what becomes of the government officials involved. Once again, do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television. And on Twitter, it is at WSTV_NG. If you search for me on Twitter, you find me there at EM Ujadigele. My name is Emmanuel Ujadigele, telling you to stay away from corruption.
The Berlin